ton of fast food myself, but it's important to understand what you can or cannot potentially is going through the cost at the grocery and what can have this conversation, because if you have a fixed income, 2022 is going to be one of the toughest years you've ever experienced in your entire life, because you're literally and food at limited service restaurants, meaning fast food and fast casual, rose 7.1% compared to last October. According to new data, 5.9%. Both were the highest increases since the BLS has recorded these numbers. Once again, these are the highest increases in food that the BLS has ever recorded, which means that we have a galloping inflation now for food far beyond what we've ever experienced in America. Imagine that. That's pretty bad. All right, let's keep rolling. The price increases on menus are rolling out across the country. Krispy Kreme shared that it rose prices in the low single digits in September, with plans for additional increases in the fourth quarter. Prices have to go up to cover higher costs, particularly for drivers in the case of Krispy Kreme. But customers are largely willing to pay up. CEO Mike Tattersfield said that customers are willing to pay up to 50% more for specialty Krispy Kreme donuts. Fast food prices have risen throughout the year. In July, Insider reported on some chains raising prices as much as 10%. The greatest price increases were 10% at Taco Bell, 8% at McDonald's, and 8% at Dunkin' Donuts, followed by Chipotle and the Cheesecake Factory, according to analysts from Gordon Haskett. Labor costs are partially the cause of these rising prices. Chains like Krispy Kreme and Domino's have acknowledged difficulty hiring enough drivers, key to both companies' business models. Business owners say they're unable to find staff and in some cases even cite a lack of desire to work, while workers say they can demand better pay and benefits in the tight labor market. This mismatch has led to restaurants decreasing hours and closing dining rooms. A survey from the National Restaurant Association, 78% of owners said that they didn't have enough workers to handle business. In another survey from Black Box Intelligence, 33% of restaurant workers said that they hope to leave the industry by the end of the year. And what's happening is everybody out there is figuring out a new way to go into a new industry to basically be able to provide for themselves without having to work so hard, having to deal with essentially all those standing up hours. It makes sense. People don't want to have to work in the food industry anymore. Ingredient prices have also skyrocketed, another piece leading to menu changes. Meat, poultry, fish, and egg prices all rose this year over year prices from the prior year, according to the BLS data. Pork prices rose 14.1%, their highest ever increase in BLS history. And beef prices increased a whopping 20.1%. Howdy, Peggy. Think about that, guys, just for a moment. Beef prices increased 20.1%. Pork prices increased 14.1%. But your butt only got a 5.9% increase from the federal government. And the CPI-W, the metric they use to calculate it, and the CPI-E, the elderly metric that they could usually, use to potentially, calculate it, both gave horrible figures, which means our CPI data with how they calculate increase of cost of living. That's the problem. All these things essentially create where you guys lose more and more every single year. Thank you, Peggy, for her. Excellent. Ingredient prices have also skyrocketed, another piece leading to, rising prices don't seem to be hurting the growing popularity of fast food. Those major chains, including McDonald's and Taco Bell, have announced sales surpassing 2019 and 2020 levels. Okay, so that's basically the whole thing with that you need to know is that basically those food prices are going to jump. And it's due to shortages in transportation abilities, cost of transportation when it comes to fuel, cost of getting employees because you have to pay them more, the ones that you do have to try and keep them, try and get more people, cost of the bare things that you need, for example, the pork, the meat in general, the eggs, etc. Everything's going up. The fruits are going up, the vegetables are going up, everything's going up. Now what happens is this. As a fixed income person, you only got a 5.9% bump. The problem with that is that the cost of the food that you eat per year will eat up even more than just that 5.9%. Then you have to think, I also have to worry about rent increases. I also have to worry about, utility increases, your water, your electric. I also have to worry about transportation increases. What's happening is we're not doing things to make this country this economically brilliant. We're not. We are recovering in a manner at which it seems like our leaders, the people that are in charge of us human beings, right? Our great leaders are doing a really bad job at essentially making sure that the American people are able to afford the basics, especially those on fixed income. Their response from the White House is they want to further investigate those to see who's not paying enough taxes for the IRS. They want to increase taxes pretty much everywhere. Pretty much everything's getting an increase that they're trying to pass. They want to go ahead and make us non-energy efficient again, and basically have to borrow energy, resources, raw material from foreign nations. We essentially have become a nation completely filled with all the crap that we saw during the Obama era, which made us live in a recession that was really, and I don't care anymore. Guys, that was the biggest depression I've ever seen in my lifetime. And it's probably the biggest depression we'll ever see in all of our lifetimes going forward. That's the reality. 2008, we were in a depression for an extremely long time. A decade would not be an inaccurate calculation there. What we need is basically people to focus on the economy, to lower the price of goods, increase the benefits to the people, decrease taxes, increase the capacity of the Americans to create new companies, to create Silicon Valleys all over the place. That's what we need. We need innovation in America to create things, warehouses to make things. We got to do stuff here. Because if we don't, the only people that are going to get, literally, you're going to see retired people and disabled people starving. They're going to have to go, even though they're on the benefit train, to homeless help facilities, more so than ever before, to be able to survive the monthly endeavors. We read in the other report that food prices are going to be rising in the first quarter of 2022, 5%, or rather the first half of 22, 5%. We know that some of those, particular, brands that people buy are going to see increases from 5 to 20%. We know that meats are probably the highest gaining price issue that we're going to run into. The problem we're running into is that regular food is now going to be the cost of high-end organic food. High-end organic food is now going to be reserved only for the wealthy. I'm not talking about the middle class. I'm not talking about the upper middle class. I'm talking about upper class wealthy. Okay? Fast food, which used to be an option for a lot of people for quick, get it done, let me get back to work food, is now going to be so expensive that it's no longer going to be an option for most people. And let me tell you some metrics that I know. When I was a kid, you could get a double quarter pounder Whopper, right? Double quarter pounder, or a McDonald's, 2 beef patty, whatever meal for less than $5. That is now $11 to $12. Pretty soon, that's going to be around $15. Remember when we used to complain about a $15 meal? That was like a fancy meal? That was a high-end meal? Well, your fast food, your junk meal, your low-end meal, throw it on the grill, scrape it off, here's your patty. That meal, just so you know, is going to be what your steak dinner used to cost. Just think about that. French fries will be a luxury in the future. Think about that. Anyways, guys, okay. Oh, why is food so expensive on Amazon? It's some items on Amazon are no deal. That's why you have to go and search it on eBay or go to local stores, etc. So, and I see ban everything. You've got a hydroponic system. Here's what I would say, guys. If you are really, really worried about food prices, there are some clubs where you get food it's straight from the farmers. Start looking into that. There are things where you can start your own garden, although you have to have the space, you have to have the sunlight, you have to have the water, you have to have the time. There's other options out there, but please let me be the first person to sound the alarm. The first person to sound the alarm, just like, oh wow, GXY, thank you. I really appreciate it. Also, I'm still working on those cards. I just realized I can do the stuff through my computer too, and I started to fiddle with it, and then I had to. The barn was a whole big thing, but anyway, I'll catch up with you a little bit. But guys, here's the thing, and again, GXY, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. The thing, guys, when it comes to essentially the future of food, you're not going to be able to afford. You're not going to be able to afford fast food. You're only going to be able to afford the basic minimum, clear value brand food. Publix, your Walmarts, your etceteras like that. Forget your, supermarkets. Forget your this. Forget your that, etc. It's only going to essentially be your base fundamental foods. And here's the problem with that. The base fundamental foods, there's hardly any nutrients in them. There's not. Wonder Bread, not much nutrients. It's not. It's great bread. I love it. I love it. Put as much butter on that sucker. Slap that butter. I love it. But it's not good for you. That's the problem. And the disabled usually have their body trying to constantly fix something internal with them. And that includes the mental. A lot of people have anxiety and depression. A lot of people don't realize the great toll that takes on the body. Yeah, sure, people get it when they see him and all of a sudden they have a lot of white hair at a young age, then they get it. But a lot of people at a young age, they age much faster when they have, issues with sleep, issues with panic attacks, bipolar mood swings, etc. It takes a toll. And people are not, unfortunately, going to be able to catch up with being able to afford food that supplies their bodies with the proper nutrients. So I want to put something out there. I think that we should have some sort of law, a bill created, that allows vitamins, just standardized vitamins. It has tons of stuff that they need for males, tons of stuff you need for females, that are widely available to Americans. And here's my reasoning why. It's cheaper to create vitamins as a government entity, right? And have third-party groups make it. I don't want to see the federal government make it. I want some third-party group that other groups can review it, make sure that nothing bad is going into it. But I want to see vitamins available to all people who are retired, to all people who are disabled. I want the vitamins to be available at an extremely cheap price or no price at all, because that will help with keeping Americans healthier longer than trying to magically work out how we're going to afford all this super expensive food now. It's an idea. If you guys like it, cool. Maybe I'll write up an example bill and I can show you how I made it. We'll do that. All right. Anyways, guys, I will catch you a little bit later. I'm going to be doing a few more videos, and then later tonight around 7, we're going to be doing our usual Thursday thing. I was driving 22 hours yesterday from New Jersey to Florida. I got here at 3 a.m., which was why I seem a little off. I woke up at 7:30. I unpacked the car, got ready, started law firm work at 9, and here I am on the lunch hour basically doing these videos to catch us up. I will catch you guys a little bit later. Garden, good seeing you. I'll catch you a little bit later, and we'll go from there. Linda Soto, howdy. Ben Everything. Stephanie Lai, howdy. Brad, howdy. And we'll go from there. Thanks so much. Bye-bye, guys.